Welcome, Nashville, to Let's Talk About It. Today at Let's Talk About It, I have my beautiful mother, Nova, my two beautiful baby sisters, Sparkle and Bella. Thank you for joining Let's Talk About It. We're here with a family. We're going to talk about things that's important to keep families together, the things that make families stronger, and know that we cannot go on without each other. Something about when blood comes together, it just stirs something up. So I'm going to turn it over here to my lovely mom. Nova, you have anything you want to share about family?
Yes, Nashville, here we are. Let's talk about it. I got 5 daughters. One is not here right now, but it's a blessing to have my other 2 daughters are not here. I'm sorry. But let's talk about it. My 3 daughters are here with us. And we got a 5 generation. My mom, she's in Kansas. It was a pleasure to spend a little time with her last month. And joy also, we took the grandkids down there, about 4 of the grandkids, and it was so uplifting to see and to keep the moral in family and to keep, you know, standard and culture and religion and everything. So it's a blessing. My beautiful daughter, Sparkle, Belkis, and Naomi. So Sparkle, you want to share something with us?
Yes, well, my daughter had the pleasure to go to Kansas to visit with my grandma, which makes it her great-grandma. And it was funny because when I would speak to her on the phone, she would tell me things that they were doing in Kansas with her great-grandma. And it was just funny knowing that I remember the times when I was younger, I was her age, with my granny doing the same things. Like my granny would be in the garden, and she loved the garden. So my daughter Maya had the opportunity to mend in the garden with her, with the vegetables that she plants. It was just so funny to think back when I was her age doing some similar things with my granny that she's doing now with her.
That's wonderful.
What about you, Belle?
Well, I remember coming to America at 3 years old. I will never forget being on the plane. That is like, I could visualize it in my head right now, being on a plane coming to America. I was terrified of the planes. And I got the opportunity to go back to Trinidad in 2006. And I remember praying, Lord, please don't let me die on this plane. And he answered my prayers. I made it alive. I was like, oh, he's real, because I made it. Right. And I kept praying. I was like, can I please be a light to you then? And I came back to America, and the church that we attend at the time, they were like, it's something different about you. It's a light. And the thing was, I forgot all about it, that I even asked God to put his light in me. But they saw it, and it reminded me, and then I'm just thankful to be here again, that God found me and brought us together, like you were saying about the blood that stirs it up, families that pray together, stay together.
So, Belkis, who took you to Trinidad?
Well, our granny took us to Trinidad. I remember, thought I forgot. But yes, I remember Granny Jean did take us to Trinidad, and 2 of my other siblings, cousins, went with me. We're in the same age group. And they have little ones now as well. That's 2 years old and 1. And he's going to be 1 tomorrow, Lord's will.
A new generation.
Another generation. So that's 5 generations right there.
Coming along.
Yes.
What about you, Naomi?
It's just beautiful to know that you have family. So many times people feel alone. And family is somebody you can call on. Even if you forget about them, when you get sick and you're in a hospital, the doctors somehow find your nearest of kin, and they want the nearest of kin to know what's going on with you. And even if you need a blood transfusion one day, your best friend can't give it to you. Your husband may not be able to give it to you. But you know, your grandmother, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, no matter what's going on, at the end of the day, they will reach out and they will be glad to share their blood. So the thing about family, it trickles down in the bloodline. And when you see other families coming together, even though you're not a part of their family, it gives you joy. Sometimes you might be at the park on a hot summer day
with your own family and you see other families, and it just brightens up your day.
Yes.
What is their family is just some people are single, they just have a dog. That's your family, you know? And it's about giving thanks for family. And people forget to be thankful. All you can do is dwell on the negative. The negative is going to be there. It's all around us when we look at the news. But if you have family, this is a time to rejoice and give thanks and reach out to them. You know, a lot of people are not living to see a new day.
So let's talk about it.
And so I'm going to reflect on some of the things that was important and stuck out in my childhood life. When my parents wake me up early in the morning for school, making sure I exercise, taking us to the savannah, and we running and exercising as a family, because my dad always said, do you know how many miles it takes to get your brain going? And sometimes I'm on my way to work and it dawned back to me, oh, it takes me 12 miles before my brain actually wakes up. So sometimes you have to remember things that was planted in you and you think you're never going to use it. Even at school, when I was learning the negatives and the positive, the line, the timeline, I never thought I'd use that timeline. And here we are using it today. We have 5 generations we are blessed to see.
Yes.
Right.
And not even that, I use it to make sure I keep my money in the account. You know, if I get in the negatives, don't want to do that. Family taught you how to do that, you know. And then I have a son that he's not here, and he's 11 years old. And it dawned on me when he brought it home and he was doing his graphing, and I just smiled because I was thankful that my parents allowed me to learn this so now I can share it with him. And we pass things down daily and not knowing that we are passing it down. So every time you have a time to share with your family, make sure you pass down as much good as possible, because as humans, we easily remember the bad. We just can't help it. That's how we were born.
So I need to.
So if we start pressing on good things, guess what's going to happen? The next generation is going to press towards good things, and so forth and so forth. And when you look around, you'll see a lot of good. And you will smile, not because we done it, but because our Creator allowed this to grow in us, you know, as family. He's coming for a family. We want a family. We have the same image. So when I look at his image, most of all, my family passed down religion to us. It's important. My father used to tell me, he's not always going to be here. You know, God loaned him to us, is what he said, to make sure we get it right, you know. So if we're in trouble, don't call mama, don't call daddy. He always said, don't call us if you're in trouble. Learn to call on Jesus. And I don't want to make this about Jesus, but that was important to our family. We woke up after exercising, we prayed together. Then we took our showers for school. And we're talking about before the sunrise, we had to do this every day. So at the time, I didn't think it was important. But now I find myself incorporating this thing with my family, because that have kept me.
Yes.
You know, if I get a headache, I don't run to the medicine cabinet trying to find Tylenol. My father always used to say, darling, we're from Trinidad, okay? If y'all hear a little accent or some words. Darling, drink some water and rest your mind. And, you know, water is good for you.
Right.
So that's just some of my things. And then we get down to the table with my 5 sisters and my brother. My brother, he came, went to college, and he's back in Trinidad. And we ate breakfast together, and we started our day. And when we saw each other again, we were all had a big smile for some reason. Do y'all remember that?
Let's talk about it, Sparkle.
Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned things being passed down, because just a little time I had the opportunity to go down to Kansas to on the way, at the end of the trip, the month-long trip with my daughter, my mom, and my grandma. They their month-long trip, I had the opportunity to go down there for the weekend at the end of their trip. And it was funny because I think what happened with me on the way down, we drove, and it was a 12-and-a-half-hour drive. So I think I was really tired, just anxious to get there. So by the time I got there, I still couldn't get any sleep because the kids were excited to see me, and I was excited to see my mom and especially my grandma. And for some reason, my eyes were irritating me. So my grandma, I was like, I need to go to the drugstore and get some eye drops. She's like, eye drops? do you know I have some apple cider here and
Apple cider
what-
vinegar.
and vinegar and whatever else she mixed up and concorded in this it's something for me to put in my eye, and I'm like, okay, Granny, I am gonna put this in my eye, and I think it also had boric acid. Or
Yes.
but grannies are the older generation always have a way of incorporating things from when they were younger that were able to use because they couldn't just run to the drugstore and grab something to, like you said, the Tylenol for the headache or, you know. So and she also had a old school,
Eye washing.
was the eye washing glass with the size of my eyeball, and she put some of the medicine in the
The medicine.
and I had to dip my eye in it. So it was just, and you know what, I really appreciate it because I got to understand that it's not, you don't have to always.
Did it help?
You know, yes, it definitely does.
It helped.
My eye were feeling so much better the next day when I know if I had gotten an eye drop, it probably would have needed
Continue.
at least 4 to 5 days.
But you're not done in drugs now, but you know.
Yeah, definitely. But it's good to learn. She taught me that you know, of course you need the modern technology and the medicine that is available, and we all need that. But it's also important to know what herbs and what things come from the earth that could also help you and cleanse you and work as well. And I was thankful for my grandma to showing me that again and reminding me, because we always, as young, we always did a lot of, you know, natural things that come from the earth.
And just to talk, she talking about natural. Just to add to that, you know, me as a parent, I remember my great-grandmother, my grandmom, Miss Evelyn, great-grandma Evelyn. And I remember one time as a kid, I went to her house, and we came home from church. I tell you, church, this, church. If we ain't never go to church, now that I'm grown, we had enough growing up. But I'm just being funny. But I remember it had some ants that got in the kitchen, and she was like, my gosh, it's ants. So I'm looking at her like, what's she gonna do? She like, go on in that cabinet and get me that vinegar. And she got that vinegar, and she poured it in some water, and she sprayed, and the ants never came back.
And did I not call you earlier this week and asked you?
She called me the other day, asked me, what do you need to get rid of ants? And I told her vinegar and water. So sometimes it saves you money if you understand the natural resources. Even up to today when I'm washing, I don't buy stain, I don't waste my money on stain removing stuff, because I remember my great-grandmother, before she washed stuff, she would put a little bit of baking soda on it with a little bit of club soda and just let it soak for a little while. And no matter, it can be blood. Guess what? It's lifting up out of there. So it's great when you have time to spend with the older people in your family.
So let's talk about it, Belkis.
Well, I remember earlier with the women monthly cycle, and I had cramps.
Wow. Some chicks.
Talk about it.
So I did not want to take any Advil, but my mother did give me herb tea,
It was
natural.
It was just dry fig leaf.
Oh.
Yeah, that you brew, and you sip on it.
And
How did you learn?
immediately, within a cup, 1 cup, and after that, the cramps went away.
Well, Gloria.
And I got that from my mom. She,
Wow.
you know, she showed that to me and taught me to use the dry fig leaf as a tea, and you sip on it, and it helps with cramps. So let's talk about it. But life is good. We sure do appreciate the doctors and all the medicine and everything, because without the doctors and so forth, then a lot wouldn't be good.
Access.
Would be, you know, good for us and so forth. So we still need to go for a regular checkup.
Right.
We still need certain things from the doctors. So it is very good. But we still need to know our background, our culture, our herbs, our different things. So everything is like a balance.
Yes.
You got a balanced life, so it is important. And my son, he's not here with us today. Love him dearly. He got 2 little girls, Ayana and Imani. Imani is how old? 7?
Yes.
And Ayana is 6. And
No, she's 8 actually. In September she'll be 8.
Oh, yeah.
oh,
just now.
Imani will be
Yes.
8 in September.
Yes.
So it's a blessing. And then Naomi, she gave me 4 grandkids. She got Julius, Pure, William, and little Isaac. And Sparkle, she gives me 2 grandkids. Maya and Michaela. And then my other daughter, who is not here, she gave me 1 grandson, Mario. We call him Little Mario. So it's a blessing with all these grandkids. Loving them is just generation. I try to instill value, culture, foundation, and everything that I learned as a child. I try to instill it in my grandkids because we got to keep foundation. Without a foundation, family falls. Without foundation, if you do build a house and you don't have a strong foundation, what will happen? It collapses. It stays for a while, but then what will happen? It will fall apart.
The rain come.
So, yeah, so we got to keep foundation. We got to teach. We got to go on. And thank God I still got my mom, and I'm never too old to learn from my mom. Never. So every day I'm learning from her. Every day I talk to her. My way coming here. She called me, and I said, I'm on the interstate. I cannot talk. She said, well, call me back when you get off. I said, okay, which I will have to, as she'll hold me against it. So it's a blessing with generation and family and morals and foundation is very important. So let's talk about it now.
Let's talk about it. We are just thankful for this Let's Talk About It opportunity to talk about family because there's so much other stuff that be on TV from time to time. But let's talk about family. Family are beautiful. When I look at my daughter, I have 1 daughter and 4 sons, and I look at my daughter and some things that she does, I just smile. I just smile. The reason why I smile because I remember the same thing that I was doing at 8 years old, she is doing now. So, you know,
And
not
more.
just smile, yeah, and more because it's upgraded.
Yes, that's a new generation.
And it just gave me joy because I remember where I was at once in my life, so I know exactly what I need to do to reach her. So if you get involved in family early, you'll remember some things you went through in life. And when your kids start going through it, you can better help them understand, and they'll be willing to understand you and listen. Because my great-grandmother, I used to love to listen to her. I used to love listening to my great-grandfather. They always had stories about life to tell you, stuff that they went through.
History.
And the funniest story ever that it still makes our whole family chuckle. My grandmother was one time telling us a story. When I was a little girl, blah, blah, blah happened. And Sparkle was younger at the time. We all look like we're the same age, but we have a lot of years in between us. She'd stop my grandma. She was like, hold up, Granny Jean. Granny Jean, was you really a little girl? You was a little girl, Granny Jean? And we just fell out laughing.
And you know, it's funny because now when my daughter see pictures of me when I was a little girl, she laughs. And I'm like, Maya, it wasn't that long ago that I was for you to not picture that I could understand me not being able to picture my grandma.
You know that girl?
But not your daughter.
But it's crazy. But it's funny with the new generation, like you were saying, they even more and beyond because we were just earlier this year planning a trip to Chattanooga. And my son, as soon as he heard that we were going to plan this trip, he got on the internet, and he's 8 now. He got on the internet and pulled up the Chattanooga Aquarium. He clicked on visitors. He told us how much the prices were, when the visiting hours, the hours of operation. He even clicked on the directions, told me how far away it is, and he is 8 years old. So even the new generation, it is amazing just how much it is different from when I was a child to when they are kids now with the amount of knowledge they have. That is, you know, sometimes we may say, oh, the new generation, the 2000 babies, the 20K babies. But the knowledge that they acquire now with the new technology and the advancement in so many things that they are able to enlighten us and share with us. And I know because my mom calls me.
I'm just a Jubilee, so I have to be excused.
Call me to send an email.
Well, it's wonderful when we talk about it. It's really wonderful when we sit back and reflect on memories, whether if it's years ago, what is even happening now. I see my kids go out in the garden with Papa in the summertime. And Papa asks them, what seed are we putting down? They know what different seeds look like without reading the package.
Wow.
You know, they know when it's time to pick the tomatoes. They know when corn is ready to pick. So even though we look back and Papa is probably doing what he saw his Papa doing, you know.
Right.
My sons, they are excited when Papa cutting the grass. They want to go summertime. My 11-year-old, he's out there. You can't tell him he did not cut a yard. Even though we know Papa was the man behind it all, he know he was working hard. He came home telling me how much he sweat. And Papa even encouraged him. And we as a family, we have to remember to encourage each other. I can't dwell so much on the encouragement. He's encouraging him by giving him a little $10. And he's excited by that $10. Thank you for the time so very much that we are here together to let's talk about it. We was talking about family, the importance of staying together. So whatever culture, whatever religion, whatever love, if you don't have religion, whatever it is that you can pass on positive.
Yes.
So we're going to go around, and I'm going to start with my darling, their mother, about one of the love that she loves to pass down from generation to generation, that gives her joy, that make her feel that all these years she's been here on the land served the purpose.
Yeah, it's a blessing because my eldest daughter, Keisha, she is 3 years older than her sister under her. And what I like to pass on for it to continue is at her age, growing up in the home, she's a child, very obedient. She still is, even though she's up in age. I wouldn't call her age and put her out there. But to pass down obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And with her being instilling obedience in her, she passed it down to her sisters and her brother. They always obey, listen, act to whatever she asks them to do or advise them to do. And that is what I want to keep in this family. Obedience, love. And once you have obedience, love follows.
Right.
It follows right there, you know. So this is what I want us to keep together as a family and keep going on so that foundation could stay strong. So let's talk about it, Sparkle.
Thank you. Sparkle, you want to share?
It's funny that you said obedience and then love follows obedience, because I was going to say I would love to pass down to my children love, and not only love but togetherness, because with love comes togetherness, where you always know that you could rely on someone and all you have to do is give them love. And giving love is by being there for that person, regardless of whatever. So I want to pass down love to my kids, to the
Thank
new
you,
generation.
Sparkle, for that love. Thank you, Nova, for that obedience. And Miss Bella.
Let's talk about it.
I would say unity, oneness,
Togetherness. So obedience, love together.
Right. It makes the song come to mind. Bob Marley, One Love. Okay. Because it's that foundation, that strong love.
Right. So let's talk about it.
The one thing that I have encouraged my kids to do, and this is something I want my kids to carry on for generation and generation, is obtaining knowledge. People, no matter whether it was the Roman Empire, a lot of us crumbled because of the lack of knowledge. And glory to God, I'm thankful. Each one of my kids that are in school, the youngest one is not school age, they make A's. My daughter, she make the honor roll, A-B honor roll. Thank God my two sons, straight A's so far, you know. And they obtain the knowledge. You can ask Julia something about a book. God has blessed him where he's on a college reading level. You know, my first grader, he's on a third grade reading level. My third grader, she's on the 5th grade reading level. And they just love learning, you know. They want to know. So when your kids ask you questions, take the time, even though you're busy, even if you don't have to answer right now, you might be running to work. Tell them, write it down. You know, writing is obtaining knowledge. People think just reading is obtaining knowledge. But also when you write, encourage your kids to write stories. I encourage my kids to write stories. Then I let them act it out. You know, sometimes we need to turn off the TV. Act the stories out.
Yes.
Knowledge is important. So with obedience, love, unity, and knowledge is important to keep a family together.
So let's talk about it. Yes.
So that's what we're talking about today. And
That's it.
anything else? We hope to see you guys next time with Let's Talk About It. Thank you very much for tuning in with us, Nashville. And we appreciate y'all looking at us, Nashville. And if
We
you have
love you, Nashville.
anything to say, the feedback, you know, you can Google Let's Talk About It. And you can leave us messages. You can correspond. You can send some things that you would like us to talk about here. Today we talk about family. So we appreciate you, Nashville. Thank you very much. Once again, 5 generations. It's about family today, Nashville. And we talked about it. We spoke on it. So now let's do the most important thing, and we need to do it. We need to practice it. Like I have my kids act it out. Let's act it out. In the absence of my grandmother, Jean, I want to give thanks to her for what she gave us to start as a family. Her mom, my great-grandmother, Evelyn, my mom, Nover, my sisters, the 2 baby of the bunch, Sparkle and Bella, and myself being here. Thank you all. I'm Naomi, and that's what we did talk about.